Your Texaco dealer, the best friend your car has ever had, brings you sports news from coast to coast with Tom Manning.
Good evening, everybody. Wherever you are, here's another friendly hello from your Texaco dealer. Folks, on our Texaco Friday night shows, we've been having a lot of fun with the Cleveland Browns. But seriously, the big topic in the football world today is, should the colleges have the single platoon or the double platoon? Well, tonight is no exception. We have the three boys, that starred in that victory over the Giants at the Polo Grounds last week. And first we have
Billy Reynolds.
Chick Chigady, fullback.
Ken Carpenter, left halfback.
Did you fellas get the mud out of your ears, Chick?
Oh, gee, I'll tell you, Tom, I've been using a brush ever since I got back to Cleveland.
I want to talk about that game on the Polo Grounds in just a moment. But first, friends, you owe it to your car to get the gasoline that's made right for you wherever you live, wherever you drive throughout the 48 states. Texaco Sky Chief, the premium gasoline that packs more punch. Now, you see, Sky Chief is 100% climate control for your area and in each one of the 25 weather areas in the USA as established by Texaco engineers. So, for instance, starts, hurry-up warm-ups, and surging power on the highways and up hills, fill up with Sky Chief, the only premium gasoline 100% climate controlled in all 48 states. You get it at your Texaco dealers, the best friend your car has ever had. Well, Billy Reynolds, a lot of folks thought you couldn't run in the mud. You're a speed merchant, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know about that, Red.
You don't, huh? Well, I remember broadcasting the Ohio State-Pittsburgh games, and you were what we call white lightning. But you did a great job at the Polo Grounds. How'd you find that mud, Billy?
Oh, I kind of like the mud myself. One of my best days in the mud in college.
How many times did you carry that ball last Sunday?
18 times, Red.
You averaged what?
It was around 4 yards.
4 yards.
Per try.
Couldn't get away from one of those long ones, though.
That's right.
Mud, huh? And Kenny Carpenter, you were terrific last Sunday. How'd you find that mud?
Oh, I come from Oregon, and I'm used to playing in the mud. I sort of like it myself, but not quite so bad.
And the big fullback, Chick Chigady, those Giants down there, they were kind of waiting for Chick there. What about that mud, Chick?
Well, Tom, believe me, it's the first time I've ever went swimming in a football uniform. That's about what it amounted to.
I'm not going to give Chick Chigady the microphone first tonight on that single platoon. I'm going to go with Billy Reynolds, the right halfback of the Browns and former great member of the Pittsburgh team. Billy, how do you feel about the single platoon?
Well, I kind of like the two-platoon system on account. I think it hurts the fans. They come to see a great ball game in college, and they like to see the specialists run. They like to see the boys on defense that are particularly great there play too. And I mean, from my aspect, I say that it'd be better to see a ball game, say 32-28, than 1-0 or 7-6. They like to see a lot of running, a lot of throwing and passing, and I think that's what the one platoon has done. It's cut down the scoring punch, and a lot of these boys that are just specialists like kickers and punters and extra points and field goal attempts, why they're just out in college football now, and there's no way they can make a letter in the college ranks now.
That's the way you feel about it. Well, of course, Chick Chigady, he kind of likes to separate the boys from the men and sort of leans a little toward that single platoon system. But, Chick, after the past weekend, have you changed your opinion?
No, Tom, I haven't. I still think the single platoon system is a very good way to play football. I think it's going to make better football players, as I said before. I do believe there should be some modifications to the rules. Now, I think I can give you a very good example of what I'm trying to say. Now, Ohio State has Johnny Borton as one of the finest quarterbacks that the college ranks have today. He has been hurt, I think, approximately 3 weeks now. This will be the third game that he's not up to par to play. The past 2 weeks he couldn't play because his ankle was bad. This week he could play if he could play on offense only. Now, I say that I think there's an example because why couldn't he go in there, run his football team on offense, and be substituted as he could have been 5 or 6 years ago with the single platoon system? Now you have to take a football player out for a whole quarter. That is my main objection.
In other words, you want some modification.
That's right.
You think that they ought to be able to substitute, for instance, the quarterback? I think that's a very good example. Kenny Carpenter, I think the chick is kind of getting back over on the other side of the fence, you know. When he first came in, he said, oh, let's separate the boys from the men and get it over with. You see, now he wants to modify it a little bit. And I go along with Chick. I like that separation of the boys from the men. I think that's a terrific point, Chick.
Well, it could come back to Billy, too, here, as he said that they'd like to see scoring. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that there's been more scoring in the games this year in the single platoon system than they have in the double platoon system.
Go down and ask Ohio State about Illinois, for instance, huh? And ask that alma mater of yours, Indiana. Well, Kenny Carpenter, what about you and the...
Well, I'm going to have to go along with Billy Reynolds. I like the two-platoon system. I think most teams today have, at least last year especially, have three or four players that always played both ways. And when they get ahead, or they can get a breather in somewhere, or they can be substituted and get back in at crucial moments when the other team is beginning to score. But gives more players a chance to play, and that's, after all, that's what they go to school for, to play football.
Well, Chick, I think you'll go along with the argument, too. The reason that baseball is so popular, the people know the players. The reason your Cleveland Browns are so popular, they know the players. If you're going to allow 60 players to play, fans never get to know the players.
Absolutely correct.
What do you got to say about that, Billy?
Well, I mean, you can take a boy that's outstanding on defense. I think the fans will get to know him, too. And if you take now like the Cleveland Browns, for instance, they got 33 players. Well, the people here in Cleveland know there's 33 players. Now you take, say, Pittsburgh, for instance, where I'm from. We generally played with 22, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, with a few variations boys throwing in. Well, generally the people around there knew all 22, too. 11 for offense, 11 for defense.
Gee, I never heard of anybody but Billy Reynolds myself.
You're not kidding. Well, they had a little guy by the name of, I forget that little Bimbo Ciccone. Oh, he was a terrific... Well, look, you know, we conclude our program each week by having you Cleveland Brown players pick the winner in your alma mater game, so sort of think that one over for a moment, because I have a little message here from that friendly Texaco dealer. My friend, do you know how every man in the Army is inspected regularly to make sure that he's in the best possible shape? Well, sir, you can keep your car in the best possible shape the same way by having it checked regularly at your Texaco dealer. Now, while he's filling up the tank with Sky Chief or Fire Chief gasoline, your Texaco dealer will check the air in your tires, clean your windshield, make sure the windshield wiper is operating properly, and in general, help keep your car delivering at its best. So drive in regularly for checkups by your Texaco dealer, the best friend your car has ever had. Billy, I want to get back to you, and Pittsburgh plays who Saturday?
Minnesota, that's the TV nationwide.
Yeah. What's your opinion of that game?
I think since Paul Bland is back in the lineup now, that Paul will help him out a lot when it comes down to a 14-14 ball game or something like that to kick a field goal. For he's really good. He's like his brother George. He can kick for distance, and he's a terrific punter, kickoff man, extra point, and field goal. He's very accurate.
Those guys of yours fast enough on the wings to stop that Paul Gale?
I think they'll bottle him up. They got two great tackles up there.
Who are they, remember?
Moose Kramer, he made All-American last year as a sophomore, and he's just about one of the best linemen you'll ever run into. And I imagine he'll have a hold at Gill before the day's over.
This guy Jagady, the fullback of the Browns, he's been picking his alma mater, the poor little boys of Bo McMillan, for the last 3 weeks. What about Saturday, Chick?
Well, Tom, they've had some pretty close ones, I have to admit that. In fact, they should have won last week and lost out in the last few minutes. But I think they got a little easy picking this week. I think they'll take Missouri by 7 points.
Poor little boy, Billy. You don't even look at the size of the guy. looks like a freight train. And what about you, Ken Carpenter, Oregon State?
Well, I don't know for sure who Oregon State plays this week, but I know Oregon plays Southern California, USC, and I'll take Southern Cal by 10 points.
Gee, it's great to talk to you fellas again, and Billy Reynolds, Ken Carpenter, and Chick Jagady, loads of luck to you. You play a tough ball game. The Washington Redskins, they're in third place, aren't they, Chick?
That's right.
Folks, they tell me there's plenty of tickets available. The Browns have given you a magnificent show so far. This is only your second opportunity to see them with the blue chips down here at the stadium. So I hope that you'll get out there and show your appreciation and get a ticket and watch the boys play Washington on a Sunday afternoon. And look, we'll be together again next Friday night, gentlemen. And you know what's going to happen if we don't get a victory? We'll settle that at our next meeting. In the meantime, if you're on your way to the football game, keep that car of yours running best. Be sure to see your Texaco dealer, the best friend your car has ever had. Good night, all.